Love should have brought your ass.
Oh, if you no, you were good. I was about to lick your fingers. Kyla Lacey, baby. Kyla Lacey is back in the building.
Spears and Steinberg. You know what the it is? Aries and Andy, chewing the jerk. You know it's time to get this work. The real raw, gutter, uncut coke. No political corrections. Always sleep. Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes. Scribe, we lit. There's levels to this. Before you was sucking on your mama's. Aries Spears don't give a. We talk about race a lot, racism, sexism. Much love to my loyal bag holders, rollers, loaders. We got them in the folders. The whole world on our shoulders. Spears and Steinberg. Yeah!
She's a queen to be. A queen to be and forever. Now listen, if you've been a day one all the way up until present, you already know what that means. You already know what it means because, you know, we gave you the preemptive strike a couple weeks ago when we've been telling you she was coming back for her third championship appearance. She's like Jordan. She's getting a third. We're going to get you 6. We're going to get you 6.
5. You've
been on here 5 times? I'm way the off. So this makes 5. Okay, so she's pulling Kobe Bryant rings. We got to get on one more, and that'll be the Jordan. I don't know why I was so off. But anyway, more to the merrier. And, you know, I always this up. And she corrects me. And sometimes I'll it up on purpose because her correction is sexy. When I go, Kayla, it's Kyla. And, you know, I know it's Kyla, but my is like, say Kayla. Because when she correct me, I'm like, ooh. She's like that mush to the forehead and the boomerang with Eddie Murphy. Love should have brought your ass home last night. I say that turns me on. A little bit of physical violence during sex. Matter of fact, do that real quick. Like, mush my forehead. But do it like, and you got to say what she said. Love, and on the of, you go, should have brought your ass home. Go ahead.
Okay, love should have brought your ass home.
Oh, if you, no, you were good. I was about to lick your fingers. Kyla Lacey, baby. Kyla Lacey is back in the building.
Since the beginning of the pod, will you tell people how to find you, though? I give them out your socials.
Like early, from right off the top.
Okay,
yeah.
So on Instagram and Threads, Kyla J. Lacey, Kyla J. Lacey. And then Facebook, Kyla Janae Lacey, KYLA JENEE, like Renee with a J, Lacy, LACEY.
Right.
And then I think, yeah, Kyla J. Lacey on TikTok. I be on Twitter, but not really anymore. I had a fairly,
Nobody's on Twitter no more.
It's like, except for the Nazis.
The porn ain't on Twitter. On Twitter ain't what it used to be.
The porn on Twitter?
I know, right? Yeah, the porn on Twitter ain't what it used to be. But you know what that is. And you know, before we get to the meat and potatoes, you know, obviously we also told y'all we was trying to get y'all to check it out, so that way when we talk about it, you already invested in it with us, so you can follow and play along. But you know, we've been telling you the Sam Cooke Netflix doc called "The Two Killings of Sam Cooke," which I desperately wanted to talk about, not just with me and Andy, but again, we go through this journey where it's me and Andy, and I know that as much as you day ones love it, and that is the formula. Every now and then we got to shake it up. You got to punch you in your mouth when you sleep, wake you up with a smack to the face. So we throw Mark in there. Now we gonna bring Kyla in here and then discuss this, so we get a little bit of some female perspective, some feminine energy. You know, well, Mark provides a little feminine energy.
And Mark is back today, by the way.
Yes, Mark is back.
He was gone. He
wasn't there last week. So we got a full house. So we just wanted to, shake it up, make it a little bit more interesting for y'all, just in case it started to feel somewhat mundane. Before we dive into any of that, we're in Utah, Mormon country.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, man, I don't know when's the last time we've been here, but Utah makes Cleveland look like Vegas. I mean, the drinking laws, they can't serve after they stop serving past 1. even though they don't toss you out till 2, which makes no sense because once the leaves, the party's over. You know, you can't have a shot and then another cocktail. You're gonna have a shot and a beer, so they have to serve this shit. They don't serve on Sundays because of the Mormon shit. It's not for me. Utah is not for me.
When we went to this burger place that they said was like the best burger place.
Best burger place.
Nah. But anyway, we were sitting there and we just looked and we were looking outside and we're watching people walk around and I'm just like, this place is cool, but it's missing
Soul.
an ingredient. Yeah.
Soul.
Some pepper.
Yeah.
Some pepper,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, and some Aries.
Well, you know, my joke has always been Utah's white people's Africa. So, and that joke hits hard here because they know where the truth is in the message. They know what it is.
Actually, there's no black women here. That's one of the other
I
reasons
saw
we
one
need you to come out.
What you?
I saw one.
You saw yourself.
No, it was a mirror. It was a mirror. It was a mirror. I actually, when I passed something and it was like a bar or something, maybe a diet bar, and I saw like about a third of the people had on cowboy hats, and I was like, wow, white people in the wild. This is amazing. And I mean, everybody's been nice here. It's like the mountain right there. That's nice.
Listen, it's a sexy. I always say it's a sexy, if you could afford it, atmosphere. Like if I could do it, like, and if you got money, you know, the ski resorts.
They have an MLK Boulevard too. I saw that. Yeah.
Well, I'm everywhere that white people have been.
Yeah.
Wherever white people have gone, my people have been there first. If you dig underneath the snow, you'll find niggas underneath. Yeah. But yo, my fantasy is always to have enough money to get one of these ski-like resort cabins, you know. And when it's cold, I don't like the cold. Okay. But I'll do the cold if I could do it my way.
With luxury.
With luxury.
Luxury
cold
cold.
Fireplace, the sauna outside, or what do you call it, the jacuzzi outside in the snow. And that's the only time I'm gonna be surrounded by nothing but white.
Okay.
A bevy. I'm like a black Hefner.
Okay.
Nothing
A
black
Hefner.
can be with me in Utah. It's just I'm in a jacuzzi with 5 bad white blonde.
Snow bunnies, literally.
It's literally snow bunnies with real bunnies around them. I'm going all the way.
Okay. You know.
Little cocaine for them, not me, but everything white.
We love a variation. We love
You know what I'm
options.
saying? No color.
That's your
Milk.
definition of the white party?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
The white party, baby. So I like the sexiness and the coziness of what the snow and the cold atmosphere can bring. As you say, if you could do it with luxury. But other than that, I don't have to be here.
I like warm weather.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Florida. I'm partial.
You said the cowboy hats and white people in the wild. I'm not comfortable around a large group of cowboy hats.
I just walk on the other side of the street. Avoid danger.
It's just not. It's not a culture that I really understand.
I think the most perplexing thing is like I was in a big old coat, like a Bronx coat.
Fur?
No, like an Eddie Bauer.
okay.
You still, like
All right.
Target-esque, but and then I saw like people with just a T-shirt, and they weren't cold. They just had a T-shirt.
Those are people from Chicago.
No, I'm a people from Chicago originally. And
I didn't know you were from Chicago originally. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So, but then in Chicago, it's not cowboy hats. It's jorts. It's white dudes in shorts in the freezing
that's
cold.
A Minnesota thing.
Is that a
too.
Minnesota thing, too?
I have
Yeah.
been to Minnesota more times than I ever want to go, and which would really just be one, but it's been more than that. But I've seen that too many times. Like it'd be 20-degree weather, and then it's like on the college campuses, the kids just walking around with shorts.
And like a sweatshirt, but shorts, and maybe a jacket. But I don't understand that one either.
I'm not.
Now, Texas, I'll take cowboy hats because I understand it there because that's part of Texas.
There's got to be a cow or two here in Utah.
Well, there is because this is a cowboy area actually outside of Salt Lake. It's very wet, but I'm not used to that.
I think my favorite thing about the city so far is that it is like the mecca of the capital of the most puritanical state, but it spells slut. That's been my favorite thing.
Sounds like a place I need to be.
Salt Lake, Utah, SLUT.
I like it.
All right, let's get to some, because now, listen, based on, like I said, what the meat and potatoes is, some other things, the things we're going to cover, it's all racially, it's all got racial components to it. So let's just jump straight in. before we get to the one thing, let me address the big controversial Kendrick Lamar halftime show. It seemed like, it felt like most of the black community loved it, embraced it, understood the assignment, but you still had a lot of black people who said it was whack. Okay. Then, of course, you had an abundance of white people that thought it was trash, with some exceptions where I would look on TikTok and Instagram, and there was a few white people that were like, they were even, taking up for black folks. Like, you white people just don't understand where it was coming from. But just in terms of the mass majority of black people, I felt like loved it, but we still was somewhat divided. And white folks seemed to be outright against it. Did you like it?
You see me leaning in. You see me. I'm in my leaning in stance.
Yeah.
So, admittedly, I'm not a huge Kendrick fan.
Neither am I.
There are songs by him that I sincerely enjoy, right?
Yeah.
But as a general, he's not my GOAT. But I respect him enough artistically to understand why he is other people's GOAT. With that said, I was thoroughly entertained. I loved it. As an artist, I got all the imagery, as much as someone who's not a devoted fan would get. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. And, I mean, Harriet was going to leave some people.
For everything that you said, yes, and hence his chorus, "They not like us," and not only does that fit the white people to a large degree, that I think missed the point, but to your Harriet Tubman, there's some that ain't like us.
Yeah,
and I posted a thing where I showed Lil Wayne, and I said, and the caption was, "So this is what y'all wanted to say." Listen. And of course, it's him smoking, and he does this gyration, boom, boom, boom thing to the music, and you can't understand what he's saying. He's yelling, and I'm just going, so y'all mean to tell me that in front of an audience of 135 million people, that's what we want to portray?
So,
because they'll enjoy that.
Lil Wayne is my problematic fave, right? He's the fave that I'm not supposed to have. I love Lil Wayne's music.
Right.
I do not think he would have done a good job. I've seen him perform. He was an hour and a half late. Didn't do any of the lyrics. Just did the chorus. Yeah. Just moved from song to song to song.
Yeah.
I love Lil Wayne artistically. I don't think that he is present enough to have been present in that moment.
Well, there was some that would argue the old Lil Wayne would have killed him.
Oh, yeah.
But this Lil Wayne,
no.
the drug-induced gargoyle.
Not big. Lil Wayne would have, not Big Wayne.
Right.
I believe that. I do believe that. I think Lil Wayne would have given an amazing show. I think he's too far gone now.
This is...
Aww. I think he's self-medicating for something that happened. Like he's not.
So that's what we want to. That's what we want. That's what we want to put out there.
I don't think that.
I don't think that's what you would have got though if he was doing a halftime show. I think he would.
We don't know.
I know. I said. I'm saying I don't think so.
Right.
That's all I said. I don't think that's what. I think he would have put a better production together.
I think that when you're that far gone, right? It's not because other people around you don't want you to be better. It's
right.
that they can't get to you. Right? I think when you are at such a pristine and high level of your craft and millions of people around the world are celebrating you, it's very, very difficult for you to take a no from someone who you feel like the world doesn't value the same way it values you. You can value that person, but you know that the world doesn't value their opinion the way that it values however you exist in the world. And I think even with Kanye, that's part of the issue is that nobody can tell these people no.
I think one thing that I would say about a Super Bowl, though, as people in the entertainment industry, not me as an entertainer, because I don't think I'm at that level, but I think when people get to a level, and you said they are celebrated. But the challenge goes away if you're doing the same thing.
Sure.
And I think that would have been a challenge that might have actually maybe woken up that person inside that wants that challenge. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know because it wasn't given.
I think he's self-medicating. I
Ma-
think
What,
that
what,
there's
what do you
something
what do you say
deep
to the
in his
people
life.
who say, "Listen, this is a football game. This is a halftime show. We
Sure.
want to be entertained, not taught a lesson."
I think part of the problem is, like, I was thoroughly entertained.
But this is where it's subjective, though, too.
Right, exactly. I think the problem with people in the world, right, is that people, especially white people, and I know this from doing college shows enough and arguing with kids I'm old enough to be their mother as an adult, right? People think that every single thing has to be tailored to their desires. People want everything to be centered on what they like. That's not reality. There were plenty of white artists throughout time that black people have sat there and been like, Not only that, half the NFL is black. Half the NFL. Not only that, white people consume rap music more than anybody.
So what's the problem?
The problem is what he's saying, right? Like it's not, and not that he's saying anything wrong, but that was what people were upset about. You can't tell me it's not.
No, I'm going to say that you said that's what people were upset about. That's what a portion of the people were upset about.
Sure, I think that the giant majority of people.
Well,
were
no, let's break it down a little bit further because you're breaking it down into one group and one group only.
Okay, that's fair.
White people range in age.
Sure.
There's a whole group of people that watch the Super Bowl. And when you said hip hop, well, let's go.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase it. Rap. Let's take rap music, and you take that out. They're not part of that at all.
Okay.
So those people, I would give you 100% of what you're saying. They weren't entertained. It's not them. It's not for them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for them. Mm-hmm. They might have been Super Bowl watchers,
Yeah.
but that halftime show completely missed them. Also, with the black audience that maybe not into that as well, it missed them. That's not their kind of music. Maybe they like a different kind of music. Not every black person likes hip-hop music, rap music.
Sure. But I don't
I'm stopping there for a second because of Aries' face.
I'm going to echo what Jermaine Dupri said when he said, not only did I love the halftime performance, but let's get back to when hip hop and rap was in a place where it wasn't meant for everybody. This art form is not supposed to be for everybody.
Well, I think hip hop itself, when rap fell under the guise of hip hop, I think it was more universal. I think it had an ability to reach out further than it did when it's rap. Rap now reaches suburban kids because that's their connection to the black community, but it isn't really their connection.
All music has the ability to reach everyone, but there are certain parties that are intended for us. Whether or not you come and like it, that's on you. But it ain't up to us to go, oh, we're doing this for you. No, we're doing this for us.
No, but what I'm trying to say that I think you're missing on this is when hip hop went off, when it was not my age, even before you, when the first commercial hip hop that went out, white people were like, I like this. I get it.
But it still very much echoed the sentiments of black struggle.
Yes, it did.
Very much did.
Yes, it did, but without a doubt. But it was able to bring them in because it was a way that it was teachable. It had teachable moments in it. I think the production that turned into rap music didn't always put black people in the best light to the average middle America white person. Kids in the suburbs liked it because that was, like I said, their connection to a city black guy, and they're in the suburbs, and they thought that was everything that was happening in an urban community. That wasn't. That was a piece that was also educational, but from a different viewpoint. That's why I think early hip hop was a little bit educational, but it was like, come on, you can see this, and it wasn't there wasn't the negativity that's in it. I'm not saying that what it became was negative. I said the way it was produced and sent out, I think it was we have seen that it's proven to be a little bit more negative.
Sure.
What Kendrick did, and why I think you take that one group away that I said, there's a lot of white people that like Kendrick, but those songs weren't played, and they were expecting something different. They were expecting not education.
Sure.
They were expecting a performance, and that wasn't what Kendrick gave a performance, but with education, strong education. Most of the people that I know loved it.
Okay.
The people I'm talking about white people.
Yeah.
The people that didn't, they're the ones that just want to listen to the music in their car, and they didn't.
So what songs did they want?
Some of the older songs that were on
Guilt-free.
his
One
earlier
of
albums.
guilt-free songs.
Diet Kendrick.
That Diet Kendrick.
Well, popular
Same nigga,
song-
less potency.
Lamar Light.
Yes.
Well, but wait, and then you also lost a lot of people that Drake has a stronger, I would say, white audience.
I agree.
And so that was a lot of the white audience
but
not liking it.
I'm not going to cater into the Drake Kendrick beef
Yeah,
aspect
but
of
it's
that.
there.
I'd be
Okay,
listening
but
to
I'm
both.
just I'm just saying even and Megyn Kelly, you know, with her semi-racist ass, she
very
pointed out, and I love that there was a clip of Jon Stewart commenting on her clip when she was like, Uncle Sam is white.
She's so smart.
Yeah,
She is really,
and Jon Stewart was like, he's a fictional
character that doesn't exist.
And she also went on to go, and just in case you guys are wondering, that's like Santa Claus. Santa Claus is white.
Well,
And I wish I had the clip of John, because John basically summed it up where he was like, so you want white kids to be emotional about a fictional character and then be racist about a fictional character because they're going to watch a show like yours at 10 p.m. that they're not even mature enough to understand. I forget how he packaged it together, but it was brilliant. But as we see it now, like even that, from Sam, which I thought was genius.
What's interesting, right? His name is Sam.
Yes.
His nieces and nephews are going to call him Uncle Sam. What her problem was is that he was representing America, and she didn't like that shit.
Of course not.
She didn't like a black man
Of
being the
course not.
representation.
And wait,
of
I can take this one
On
more
a fictional
step.
character.
But I can take this one more step for
Okay,
you.
I'm
One
ready.
more
Okay.
step for white people. Wait, one more step because of what you just said, and he was representing America as a black man, Uncle Sam. They didn't listen to what he said, and if they would have understood the performance.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they missed.
Or maybe they did listen to what he said.
no,
They didn't want to
no.
hear that.
I think that they did. I think that they were so caught up in that they didn't bother.
Some of them.
They checked. Yeah,
Some of them.
a lot checked out because they
Most,
They,
because-
I don't even want to say checked out. They never checked in because they
Okay.
were like, what is it? I don't understand. I see a lot. I saw a lot of. I don't understand. Now I have to tell you, I didn't get to enjoy it the same way because I watched it on the plane on a little teeny phone, and it didn't have the same thing when I was able to actually arrive, but it didn't have the same energy anymore, and I heard too much stuff about it. So it was different. But when you say 50% of the NFL is,
I think it's like 50, 60%.
I think it's 60%.
Yeah, more than that.
But the audience
Sure.
is largely white.
Sure.
So this is the juxtaposition that we have to that
Sure.
we're navigating while we're having this conversation.
Sure.
So of course there's going to be a large part of white community that doesn't understand it.
Sure. And that's part of the problem, right? Because they don't see the players as people with experiences or what they like that needs to be connected to.
Or as Donald Trump would describe them when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, get them sons of off the field. So however you look at us, whatever description you want to give us, we know that when the president of the United States, the leader in command, what they call commander-in-chief, the leader of our country describes a league predominantly of black men, sons of because a black man is kneeling for the injustice and the murder of black men, well, then what else do you need?
His mother was a white lady, by the way. So that's, that's an interesting thing.
But as you said that, when you said white people also don't have the same connection, white people, when people are watching that, and you got to look at the demographics of white people that watch football and how they scale into a lower level, they see them as millionaires.
All of them.
All of them.
Which adds it to the fuel to the fire.
Yeah, that's
How
right.
dare these rich niggas? 'Cause
Yeah,
what do you always
that's
hear when
true.
they go, well, if you don't like...
You should go back.
You should go back.
Yeah.
What the NFL has done for you and the opportunities that it's given for you,
Listen.
if you're so ungrateful, why don't you go
They
back?
always-
And go back is always a connotation to, nigga, stay in your place or go back to Africa.
It's almost like when you reach a certain threshold of fame or success, you have to buy a ticket out of race. Like you're buying a ticket out of racism or the right to talk about it.
How dare you be stronger than us,
Yeah.
faster than us, bigger than us,
Oh, my God.
rich, and you our women? All the NFL allows you to have, go back.
I think I was, when they say ungrateful, it's like, you weren't with them shooting in the gym, baby. Like, who are they ungrateful to? They worked hard. They sacrificed their bodies, not yours.
But and I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
But I also understand the mentality, where the mentality is,
Sure.
I work hard. I didn't have the opportunity. I work 40 hours a week. I do everything I'm supposed to do. I don't ever have this opportunity. And I'm grateful for what I have. And you have all this, and you seem, to them, to that community, it seems ungrateful. I'm not saying it is. I think you have I think everybody has every right to speak and make their that goes without saying. They're in a position that they're looking and they don't understand. I'm not, and that's not a pass. It's your job to understand. It's your job to learn. It's your job to continue to educate yourself. I'm just saying, I understand. I know what their mentality is.
Yeah.
Let's move on to other insane news.
Okay, insane.
So during all of this, your boy Yeezy, he sends out these tweets.
Gosh.
I am a Nazi.
Oh, I did that. Yeah.
Call me Adolf Hitler, which isn't funny, but it's funny just because
It's pretty good, dude.
And your still wants to. Hitler was so fresh, and let's see if y'all give that money back. I love Hitler. Now what? What? He's like the child that a mother can't explain.
I had said Donda.
What is wrong with this man?
I said Donda would be so embarrassed, and I swear to you, it was a whole bunch of 19-year-old white boys very upset with me and talking about my mother. And I was like, my mom didn't raise someone praising the Nazis, so I don't know what to tell you. Again, nobody's there to tell him no anymore. Like Jay-Z and Beyonce, they don't talk to that guy anymore. Nobody can tell him no. He thinks he's the best thing that the world has ever made.
Now, see, I'm glad both of you are here because, if you weren't, I would still ask this question to get his reaction. But I want to get his reaction, but I definitely want to get your reaction to his reaction. Okay. So, in any time like this pops off, there's going to be people that will, for lack of better words, play the race card, but the card has always been played. So, but people will use this opportunity to go this versus that. Okay. So I saw on social media where somebody said, so now nobody really people made a big deal of Elon Musk doing this, but yet he's still allowed to thrive. So y'all gonna stop Kanye now? If Elon can do this, so what? Why can't we, Yeezy, put out them tweets?
I don't think he can. Again.
But there are some, and we argued about this. Did Elon really do that?
He absolutely did.
Okay, so hold on to that. So hold on to that. If he did do that.
You shouldn't do it either.
No, but I'm just saying, if he did do that.
I think you should just do it if
he did.
Why?
No, hold up. If he did do that, and that's in fact what we're going with, and nobody is truly shutting him down, then shouldn't Yeezy be allowed to do what he just did?
So, no. Because the people who are shutting Yeezy down are not the same people. Like, Elon doesn't have a boss. Elon isn't answering to anybody. Elon is the richest man on the earth.
Who's Kanye answering to?
Listen, Shopify, Twitter. Okay. Elon owns Twitter, right?
He's still a billionaire, though.
Sure. And Kanye's billions are like this to Elon. Elon is worth over $400 billion. Kanye's worth what, 2? That's a big difference.
So you're saying that at $400 billion, it buys you more freedom than $2 billion?
He bought the media. Kanye buy the media. He could do whatever the he wants. The difference is you are considering them both rich. Kanye is wealthy as Elon is wealthier than God. That's the difference. The same people who are, if Elon and Kanye were in the same arena doing the same things, if Elon was selling shirts that said, I am a Nazi on Shopify, I'm sure Shopify would do the same thing.
To Elon.
Yeah. He doesn't have a boss. Kanye can get on the highest of horses, but at the end of the day, he is still like there's still somebody over him that's responsible for putting him out. That's like saying, there's a difference between saying him and Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg could say whatever the he wants on his platform. He could do whatever the he wants. He is Mark Zuckerberg. Somebody gonna tell him don't put that on Facebook? Somebody can tell Kanye don't put that on Facebook. That's the difference. They are way richer than Kanye. That's the difference. They all are wrong, including Zuckerberg. But that is the difference.
That was not a salute, Nazi salute.
It was
No, it wasn't. And you're going to tell me it was. So
I
let
don't
me.
have
I'm
any
going to
great
tell you
history.
about some stuff. Then.
So the Jew is telling you, how dare you, Miss
ahead.
Non-Jew?
all right, educate me.
And I gotta say, incidentally,
there's
I did
no
say,
education for
but
it.
I did say, because you had mentioned, I don't know if it was last week, but when we talked about it, matter of fact, it was when we were in Miami and we had the iguana moment. But you did mention that the swastika was a symbol that was created by
Hindu. It was Hindu.
And I saw on social media where a Hindu person was weaving some sort of basket, and it had the symbol in the basket. So I did not know until you educated
The
me
Nazis stole all the greatest artwork to do because Hitler was an artist, and he also understood
That's why
marketing.
he was all pissed off because he didn't get into art school. That's a true story.
But he
That's really how it started.
he's a master marketer, and he took all the look at everything that the Nazis. If you really look at the Nazi symbolism, it's great.
Pro and propaganda.
I did not know that.
It's great. So like I said, it's unfortunate because the swastika is actually a really good look. I mean, it's balanced. It's perfect. It's a perfect symbol.
So, if you don't think that if that wasn't a Nazi salute, do you think that that was what he was attempting to do?
A Nazi salute? No.
What do you think he was attempting to do?
I think he said with his heart, and he did this thing with his heart, and the way he goes like this. Did you see him jumping behind Trump before? Did that look normal?
Listen, Linda, I am. The problem is we want to paint him as this super genius and then act like he's dumb at our convenience.
No.
Which one?
No. Oh, okay. Now I love that you said that. I think he's autistic, and my son's autistic, and he's not
He
dumb.
seems a little bit.
He's not
my
dumb.
God.
He's not dumb.
He's
on the he's severely on the spectrum. Listen to him talk.
Sure.
And my son.
So you don't think he's evil?
No, I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's evil.
You do?
I do.
I think
do.
though, when you have unchecked power,
Okay.
which he does have, you have to be very careful how you wield it. But do I think that he's evil? I don't think he's evil
think
yet.
he's
Why do you think he's evil?
I think he is. There's no reason for somebody who is not a government official to be involved in the nation's finances. Like, he has way too much access. There's no way that you can be worth $400 billion without having decimated somebody, right? Like having ruined.
He
somebody's
created
life.
a whole industry.
Sure.
And multiple
So you don't
industries.
think that there was some sort of exploitation from any group along the line of his creations? You don't think that the people who mined the whatever battery was needed, cobalt, lithium, whatever, there was no sort of exploitation down the line?
When Elon Musk started the Tesla company, and
He didn't start it. He bought it.
He bought it, and then he improved on it. And
Sure.
however you want to look at it, but when he had ownership of Tesla,
Okay.
and that market was stalling the market for electric cars, he gave out all the information on the electric cars. He gave them to car companies. He made them public, so anybody could have had that, taken the same thing that he had and built their own cars.
Okay.
He gave it to all the car companies had access to it to build a better electric car if they could.
So because he gave out.
No,
access
what I'm
is
saying
making
is
them have
no.
to
What
do
I'm saying is you're looking at it is who the batteries. Yes, there's exploitation in the batteries. We know that. We know that without a doubt. Is that the car company, as you said, he bought it.
Right.
So that was, but we were already in this. We need electric cars because our footprint and our world, and this is a global event, and we need these cars.
He could stop hunger in the same countries that he mined in, but he bought a social media site instead.
He's buying
and allowed.
Is he buying? Is he mining, or is he buying from China? Because he was buying from China in the beginning.
No. I'm the countries where whatever his resources are gotten from, those countries. There's a very big chance that those countries are way below the poverty line. He absolutely has the opportunity to make big moves with his money, and he buys a social media app.
Yeah.
And not only that,
Why did he buy a social media app, though?
He buys a social media app where he allows Nazis to run rampant on that site. You would not believe how many times I have been called a libtard for just posting about my day.
I don't know anything about that or the people that do it, but it's an open forum platform.
I was going to say, you can't control who goes.
Sure,
but
you
didn't.
can.
But you haven't asked me.
But when Jack owned the site, he didn't let Nazis run rampant.
No, he didn't. He also didn't let conservatives on the site, and that's why you lost information that should have been given out.
What information did I lose?
All the information that was suppressed, everything about Biden and Biden's problems before.
I never liked Biden like that.
It didn't make a difference. Did you have the information?
I had enough information to not like him like that.
Was the information suppressed? Are you going to be honest and say that they didn't suppress information?
You're telling me there's suppressed information that I don't know existed. That's nonsensical. How am I going to tell you that something didn't? That something
because
was
they put it
suppressed
out.
that
Because they put it out afterwards.
They put what out after?
They put everything about Biden and his son out afterwards.
So then
the
it wasn't
media admitted
suppressed?
after he bought Twitter. After the election, after he bought
You
Twitter.
don't think people knew that Hunter did crack?
The media came out and admitted that they were suppressed.
Listen, I didn't talk to those people. I knew
It's
Hunter was a crackhead. He's got it. Look in his eyes. You can see he's a crackhead.
Did you go online then and put Hunter's a crackhead? They're
I
suppressing
didn't
it
need to go online to see
because
that.
you
I could
knew it.
see-
Because you knew it.
Sure.
How about the
And
rest of everybody else?
listen,
How about the rest of everybody else?
Listen,
Because this
a
is
lot of people don't know a lot of shit, and I can't tell you what they don't know. I cannot spend my time.
But I can
trying to
tell
figure out
you
what
that
people
it
do
was
and don't
suppressed, and you
know.
keep telling me that it's
And
okay because you
I'm
knew.
not denying that it's suppressed. I'm saying there's no way for me to know that it's suppressed if I don't know what information didn't exist. You're telling me that there was a piece of information that was suppressed that I always knew about.
There's people that the media didn't come out and say, because the reason that we knew about it, the reason people knew things were being suppressed is because those people that worked at Twitter came out and let other people know their
Sure.
information was
And I'm
being
not-
suppressed by our
And
government.
I'm not saying that didn't occur.
So if our information-
I'm saying I didn't know about it. So you're telling me that I should deny the existence of something I didn't know about.
No, I'm asking you. Now you know information was suppressed then now. Do you know now?
Because you're telling me.
So you had no idea until I told you right now. This is a surprise to you?
I'm not winning something by lying to you about this.
Well, then you're undereducated.
Oh, okay.
It's not
I'll
my
be
fault
that.
you're undereducated.
I'll be
Maybe
that.
you should
I
go
don't-
back on Twitter.
Listen, I don't speak Greek. Don't mean I'm stupid.
I didn't say you were stupid.
I know,
You
but
just said that.
I'm uneducated about speaking Greek.
No, but you're uneducated about what
I'm
you're saying. You're
uneducated
the
about
one
a
who was
lot
just
of
talking
things.
about Twitter. I didn't bring Twitter up. You did.
I know who brought it up.
And then
I was there.
and then you just said, well, you weren't aware that was being suppressed by Twitter.
And because I saw it on Twitter. Where would I know that he's a crackhead from? On Twitter. That's literally where I found out he was a crackhead.
No. I'm asking you about. You didn't know that they were suppressing information.
You want to
The
ask
government
me,
was
if you
asking.
ask me a different way, I'm gonna give you the same answer. I didn't know.
Okay.
Do you think that I am unaware that the government suppresses things in general? I'm not unaware of that. I'm not unaware that Joe Biden wasn't the best president in the world.
So I don't care about Joe Biden. I'm talking
You
about
brought up his crackhead
before
son.
the election, when the information would have been pertinent to put out to the public, it was suppressed.
Okay,
That's a problem.
sure.
And so
I don't disagree with that.
entity that had money bought Twitter and made all the information
And
public.
now the Associated Press is not allowed in the White House because of the Gulf of Mexico. So really, what are we saying here?
I don't know. What did you just say?
The Associated Press is not allowed
Because
in
they
the
don't
White...
want to make the change to the Gulf of America.
Yeah, because it's the Gulf of Mexico.
Why is it the Gulf of Mexico?
Because that was the name of it. Because remember, in this country, we go by people's first names that they were born with. And it was born the Gulf of Mexico, so it is not transitioning to the Gulf of America. Because that is what conservatives like.
I think it's a ridiculous thing. No, it should be, and technically it could be the Gulf of the Americas, because it is.
Sure.
It should be and could be, because at one point when Mexico wrapped all the way around, it was the Gulf of Mexico.
Sure.
Mexico doesn't own that part of
Yeah.
so it could be the Gulf of
'Cause,
Americas.
I mean, but still, the Gulf of Mexico touches more land in Mexico than it does in the United States. So
it wraps around pretty good. I'm just saying, but Mexico is part of America.
sure.
Okay.
I
Ding.
believe that.
Ding.
So if it's part of America, then it's the Gulf of Americas.
Okay.
I think that right there is the biggest thing that Trump does, is because it gets us to talk about something that is not it's not important, and it ruins real conversation or real things that should be happening.
Okay.
or talked about.
We went from Kanye to.
But with Kanye, you never asked me, do I have an opinion about him doing that?
What is your opinion?
If you have $1 billion and you can get away with that, we all know racism exists.
Yeah.
So I'm not freaked out about it. I'm not freaked out about it at all. I'm not supporting Nazism. But when I look at Kanye, if he wants to spend his $1 billion and he wants to enrich more people, and you want to look like a Nazi supporter?
I need you to be a little more Jewish right now.
No, I am Jewish right now.
I really need you to fight for your people.
I am, because we need to know who the Nazis are. And he said, I'm a Nazi.
Okay.
Well, if you listen, if you let the Israelites tell it, and the infamous documentary Hebrew before, or however that was, we are the original Jews, aren't we?
I'm not going to be standing on the corner wearing purple.
And yelling into a cheap mic system and scaring
and
the hell
not
out
showering.
of people.
That's not going to be me.
You don't want a Pirates of the Caribbean outfit, Okay, let's.
I don't want to be a fifth wife.
Well, damn,
But-
sweetie.
What if
I
you-
mean,
what
we're
if
in
you
the
got the
right
first?
place, though. We're in the right place. We're in Utah.
No, but I just think that you need to know who the Nazis are. I'd rather know who
He
the
said
Nazis.
it
I know,
was!
and I'd rather know who he is, so I don't have to support his
Okay.
music. I don't have to support his clothing line.
So you don't think that the guy that was like, his parents like fled
If-
from where they were because of the support of apartheid as a Nazi?
I didn't know what you just said. You said the guy and he had
Whose
a flag.
parents fled Canada to South Africa because they supported apartheid and Nazism.
Well, I'm happy to know that they're Nazis. I hope they do whatever they need to do.
I'm talking about Elon.
I know you.
yeah,
Let's go down
yeah.
the Sam Cooke hole now.
Okay.
But I want them to know he's a Nazi so that Adidas can stop around with him and just cut
think
that
they
shit down.
have them.
No, they were trying to figure out how to sell them shoes again because they didn't want to lose all that money.
Yeah.
That's a German company. That wasn't a Jewish company, by the way.
Adidas, Adolf Dassel.
So what'd you think about the Sam Cooke thing? You liked it?
I did. I did. That was kind of why I was late a little bit. I was still watching it.
It's funny. We've touched upon this many a times. And Andy and I, whenever we've talked about music, because this seems to be a through line within the music industry. So whether we talked about our visit to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum in Cleveland, or we talked about MTV, or we talked about Elvis, and I said, I know times have changed in the sense that artists today have more creative control and even more so are independent. Therefore, record companies don't mean what they used to. But back then, how can a record company have so much control over what an artist can do when you're bringing the talent to the table, which essentially puts money in your pocket? And I know that, again, today with kids,
The internet.
and it's like record companies. But back then, they literally had every kind of control over every aspect of what you did. And I'm going, without the artist, you make no money. And that's one of the things that was so great about this later, because Sam Cooke, like my man Jadakiss said, how to sit back and roll the Dutch, think about how I put the game in the Cobra clutch. He put the game in the Cobra clutch. He was on his way to becoming so huge that the record company said, this must be stopped.
Yeah.
He cannot do what he is trying to do, because if he does that, he puts us in a bad spot. So, and that was, listen, all I really knew about Sam Cooke was what my parents, I listened to the music because it was who, their era, but I didn't know anything about the man. I didn't know anything in depth about who he was, what he represented, and how much of a black superhero he was.
I think when you look at stars of his time, right, like we always lean to the salaciousness. Like we always lean to Marvin Gaye did what?
In terms of a bad thing?
Yeah. Like, well, he got somebody pregnant, or, we always look at the tea of the story. And I think that was kind of the sad part about Sam Cooke's legacy, is that he wasn't regarded as this civil rights icon the way that he should have been.
Right.
And because, again, it's not the information that people want to hear.
Well, even when the movie recently that came out, when they have the big meeting in Miami, and he was portrayed as the weakest of that group and not and almost removed from his blackness in that movie. And we talked about it, and when we saw the movie, it seemed like, we had 3 leaders and Sam Cooke.
Right.
So what you're saying, I think, is what the narrative is that's been out there. But is that black or white people? And the reason I'm saying this is because does this get lost in the general context, or is it because black people felt that way about him, and that's the narrative that's been portrayed?
I can't tell you what they felt. I don't know.
Andy and I kind of discussed it last night, and it was like you were amazed when you found out that he performed at the Copa.
Yeah, I thought that was that comes to another level.
Yeah,
because that was Italians, and
right.
We know what that back then what that was.
But again, it's this thing where it's like I forget what show it was. I want to say, was it Milton Berle? I don't think it was. Whatever show he was on, where it was like
Ed Sullivan.
Was it okay? But it was like it was rare to ever have a black person on these shows. But you have him on the show, and it's a big deal. And then when it's over, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Cooke, and he comes and he talks, and it's just that same thing where it's like, as long as we're singing, dancing, playing sports, telling jokes, they'll let you in the Copa. They'll put you on TV. And I don't understand the psyche behind.
But you
love
have
us
to be
when
a
we
certain amount of exceptional as well, right? Because as Andy pointed out, the rarity of a black person performing the Copa. So you have to be extraordinary.
Okay, so but even with that being said, if extraordinary is good enough to make you enjoy us for however long it is that you forget or put aside our blackness, there's something else deeply rooted within you that when that performance is over, I get out.
Yeah, because
that's
it's
insane.
Yeah, you can't eat out here. You can't eat out here. You got to go through the kitchen to get out to the performing area. You don't get to go to the regular dressing rooms. The dressing rooms aren't for you. Yeah, it is that. And when you perform, and this is what I said about the Copa, that Sam Cooke guy, he's good because he's like Frank, not because he's like
his own self.
I just, to me, it just feels like if I'm going to accept you, then I've accepted you. I'm not going to accept you with limits. Like once I go, I see the brilliance, the genius, the exceptionalism in you. That to me is the key to go, well, damn, if I see that and I'm willing to accept and embrace the beauty of that, how do you disassociate yourself from the rest of it?
I think white people have a really good knack for compartmentalizing, right? Like they will compartmentalize the type of black people that are acceptable to them. And not only that, how much of this black person I will accept, right? I will accept all of the parts of this person that make me feel good. But the moment that I feel uncomfortable, then I don't have to accept the rest of that. I don't have to take this person as a whole being because I don't look at them as a whole being.
That's wild. That separation is wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's so, like, a lot of it is, like, prime example I can't even remember the guy's name, but a lot of it was based on the fact that black people, they didn't feel that black people had sentience enough, right? So, sure, we could create some sort of entertaining art, but it was never going to be like, like Phyllis Wheatley, for instance. You know this Phyllis Wheatley, the poet, right?
Yes.
So Phyllis
Slavery days, right? Yes.
So Phyllis Wheatley learned all these classics, Greek, Latin, blah, blah, blah. She learned the classics in the classic languages, extremely smart, and started writing poetry. So the poetry was so good that they were like, she didn't write this. This wasn't her. So there was a whole court proceeding about her writing the poetry.
I saw the story,
right?
yeah.
So then, because there's a Netflix documentary that kind of touches on the story. But then it was like, okay, but Thomas Jefferson comes in and he's like, this shit isn't good at all, right? So it was good enough for her to be, for it to be a question whether she had the ability to write it. But then when they found out she wrote it, it wasn't good at all, right? So, and part of his thought process was that, sure, there's a certain amount of misery and sadness to create certain amount of depth in the soul to create real art. sure, black people are miserable, but they don't have the souls enough to do something of greatness, of great artistic magnitude. And that was the whole thing, is because if I see you as a whole being, then I have to see what you struggle with. And I have to accept my part in your struggle.
That.
Yeah. And that's really what it is.
I can't that sounds the best way that I've heard it explained, because I to my
See, you are educated.
Look at me. I got a degree all of a sudden.
the way that I've always understood it, and you basically said it the same way, is just that if I take responsibility that you have a soul, that you have feelings and pain, then I'm responsible for everything that's happened to you in the past that I've put on you, and now I have to own that. Mm-hmm. And this is why I want to bring up something else, but it goes off the track, so I'm not going to go there. But yeah, it had nothing to do with this conversation, but it's a bigger one. So yes, I agree wholeheartedly, because as soon as you do that, we also have to talk about years that that the people that were in these lands that we live in were sold that, because if there's no other way that they could do what they were, the Dutch started that. The Dutch, and I'm not trying to put it off on everybody, should have been aware and should have been able to think outside of what they were told, but they went along with what was told to them. And we had hundreds of years of that being ingrained into that white culture, that this was okay because they weren't real people.
Sure.
And that's basically it.
Sure.
You know, I got to ask, because I know as a black person, and as I was watching this, I went, no way. I couldn't do it. And I don't know if it's, well, part of it would probably be the fear. Most of it would be the fear factor. And I go, I guess I'm a then. But I wanted to ask you, as a fellow black person, would you?
Hello, fellow black.
Yes. Would you or could you have? Like I wrote, if I grew up at a time in a major city like Chicago, L.A., New York, given the climate of what the country was, I would never go down south, because and again the whole myth, especially during the civil rights movement, was that, oh, it's just the South. No, Northern racism was on its own.
Boston.
Like Southern racism.
Boston.
It just, as Dave Chappelle would say, the Southern racism was brewed to a perfect stew.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you know Emmett Till and the South and all that, could you have ever, even if you had family, I would have never left Chicago, L.A., or New York.
So my mom was born in Chicago and then lived in Boston for about 8 years in her childhood, and then moved back to Chicago. My father was born in Arkansas. And going down south as a kid was like this mythical adventure. But I always felt like I never really felt a connection there. Like I never felt like this is an extension of who I am and my lineage. It never felt warm enough. Like it never felt even like was so lacking. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, one street light town and, you know, no real technology. Like there was nothing even to look forward to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you going down south for the summer? Yay!
But more from
Hell
a
no.
racial standpoint.
Nope. Why? Why?
That's another kind of bravery, man.
Why? Why?
Because if there wasn't an exodus from the South, the sheer population, like what we have in Atlanta today, would have changed the dynamic of the country in a shorter period of time. That's why you would have wanted people to stay in the South and not move north.
But people in the South, black people in the South, didn't have opportunities.
I
right?
understand
that. No. I'm just going to counter that with the fact that moving to the North may have created a stronger black populace overall. Because even in the documentary, it talks about Sam still going back, right? But he had money. He had an opportunity that he wouldn't have had in the South. And so there's sending money back home. Like that's where a lot of people who were part of the Great Migration. My daddy was sending money back home since I was
But as
born.
the black community grew, a lot of white population would have left. I'm not saying that it would have worked out. White population would have moved out.
They do anyway.
Yeah, I'm saying Atlanta is a city that I could say became, because of numbers and growth and opportunity, became from those numbers, from that growth, from being able to do business within its own community.
Yeah.
And that's what was
But
missing.
there's still a lot of racism in Atlanta, right? Because
Yeah.
here's a prime example, right? There's a company in Florida, and it's this guy who is, his name is AJ Steinberg. He is a chess prodigy, right? He took his company from Florida, and about 80% of his companies, what they basically do is they're wholesalers for real estate. About 80% of his business is done below I-20 in Atlanta. Do you know who lives below I-20 in Atlanta? Black people. So there's still very much, and you can't tell me that isn't racially motivated, right?
Right.
Even if it's just algorithms, the algorithms are tilting towards the way the population has gone, right? So if this is where this man is doing 80% of his business is basically decimating black home ownership in Atlanta, it's not that much better.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you because I don't have those numbers, and I don't have that. But what I would say is, when a community can be involved in its community, as Tulsa was, and grow their community,
And then it got burned down.
and then it rebuilt and was just as strong after it rebuilt. Yes, it was. We're going to. We're really going to do this.
No. That would mean that people's property was like restored, right? That would mean that the reparations happened, and those things didn't happen.
I didn't say that it was wonderful. I said the black community rebuilt because the black community had strength and they were a community
but
and were able to rebuild.
To what extent?
To a strong community until it was broken apart again by exactly what you're talking about. But had numbers been there, I'm not saying this should have happened. I'm just saying the other side of this. When you go up and you talk about, yes, you come up and you start making money, but that community's weak and it's not doing business with itself. Even if you send money back home, they're spending money with white folks, not with black folks, and that's what keeps that community continuing to keep it down. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm offering an alternative. It's too late to even go back and look at that. I'm just saying that would have been, when you said it, yeah, it didn't have the opportunity. It was one streetlight. It never had the opportunity to grow into something that I think could have, from what I've learned, from what I've studied, it could have been something different. And we could have looked at a different kind of country if that would have happened. But that doesn't mean it would have happened. As you said, they could have came down and burnt that shit down too.
Right. But and then you have to remember what the sacrifice is, right? Yeah. Like, the sacrifice isn't just a burned down home. It's a burned down family, right? The sacrifice isn't. These are people's lives,
but
it's a good thing out loud to say, hey, we should make this risk. We should all make this sacrifice, right? But people die that way.
Yeah, but we do know that lynchings didn't occur just in the South.
Sure,
and there was up in the North, in New York.
Yeah,
in Boston,
but to the certain extent, I mean, it pales in comparison, right? Like, we know also that the majority of lynchings did occur in the South, and so that's a thing, right? Like, you can't blame people for wanting to live. There's
a time period where there was more lynchings in New York than there were in the South as we moved through the numbers.
I don't understand what the gain is by arguing what lynchings happen more.
I think we're trying to see. I think arguing more over migration and seeing if opportunities. I'm saying when we talked about Atlanta, yes, there's racism still in Atlanta. There's racism everywhere in the country. We're not going to get away from racism. Racism is going to be there. I'm talking about opportunity. And I think that's what we're talking about.
I'm going to counter with this last thing. I don't know the exact numbers, but I do know that, for instance, in Mississippi, there is an extremely large black population, and Mississippi has the largest black population, right? And Mississippi is still a red state because of voter suppression and because of whatever new poll tax that they've invented, right? So clearly, it's not even with that large concentration. It's still the South. It still has the antebellum sentiment. There's still the Jim Crow sentiment. Still has survived long enough, right? So even with this population being so large, they're still squeezed. Their power is still squeezed from them.
Yeah, because education and
opportunity.
Opportunity, not on the part of black folks. Yeah,
too,
yes, but strategically uneducated. That's what you were. I agree with you.
But going back to why I mentioned the South was like it took me out when Smokey Robinson said they couldn't even stay in hotels because they had to stay in rooming houses. Then Quincy Jones said a few times they even had to stay in mortuaries laying on coffins next to caskets with dead bodies in them. You know, listen, before I make
I
the
don't know if
ultimate...
I could have sat in the truck.
Well, listen, before I make the ultimate comment that I'm going to make, that I've kind of made before, and I always try to preface it by saying, you know, as a human being, yes, we all get emotional. And when it comes to this kind of shit, and I am very proudly pro-black, as this documentary builds to its crescendo, and these things are coming out, I'm getting angrier and angrier. So before I say what I'm going to say, I you know, there's that. But then there's also, you know, they brought up Emmett Till, and I had said, you know, I don't give a damn how much time goes by. Seeing that image
It's
of
always
Emmett
jarring.
Till
Yeah.
is always more than just disturbing. And then they mentioned that Clark and the KKK was threatening to blow up the studio via Sam Cooke's appearance. And then they showed the footage of where they show a black man walking down the street, and there's just a line of Klansmen in the Klan outfit.
So you got to think about how illogical racism is. You are mad that a man is singing, right?
Singing.
Like you're mad that a man is entertained. You are mad that a man is making people have a good day. That's some crazy.
It was that they were mad that they were making white people.
That's even worse than you people.
Yeah.
You should be excited that white people are happy. That should be your goal. Happy white people.
And you know, the thing that you look at that's so wild is, like, you know, when they show these artists, whether it be Sam, James Brown, whoever at that time, and they show the white people dancing with the black people, which of course we know you're not born racist, you're taught racism.
Yeah.
And it's just...
But you are born without rhythm, though.
Okay. So to be able to see the beauty in a moment like that of people, and usually it's young people, coming together with young black people and having a good time, and you just sitting back with all your misery and hatred, and you want to destroy that.
So do you know why the KKK was really formed?
Why?
The KKK was formed to protect the purity of white women. So back in the coal mining days, right? Back in the coal mining days, black and white poor coal mining families lived in the same communities, right? KKK said, no, can't have none of that. Got to break this shit up, because they were afraid of black men having sex with white women. That is also why weed is illegal in a lot of states, because people thought that Henry Anslinger thought that weed cannabis would make black men sexually
Charged.
Yeah, charged, and would make them rape white women.
Again, the insanity of white hypocrisy.
You've seen the movie, haven't you?
Well, wait,
Reefer Madness?
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but I do want to see it.
That's what Reefer Madness is about.
Yeah.
What people think it's like this, like funny, like film.
But
it
it's
was
the
a
real-
movie.
What year was that out? I never heard of it.
You can pull it up.
40s, 30s?
It's a comedy?
No, it's not a comedy.
No.
It was a film.
1936.
They didn't want. That's why This is why weed today is still considered a higher level drug than it should be.
Yeah, it's. Did you know that weed is scheduled higher than heroin,
And
Xanax, cocaine?
But this is it.
ketamine?
And if you
Yeah.
read it, it says in here that this is what they were fighting against, because they were afraid that white women were going to smoke weed with black men and they were going to
and
fuck
they were
them.
gonna have. They were gonna have Kim Kardashian.
I
babies.
want to watch this, but let me go back to what you said. You're afraid that black men are going to rape white women.
No, not rape. They weren't even afraid of rape.
I think it was a little bit of both.
Okay, but let's go with rape though.
They were
'cause we know-
they were saying. I just want to say they were saying it's rape. They knew that they were going to be black men.
Okay, but
That's
let's
how
go
my
with rape
great-grandfather
because we
was-
know how that.
That's my great grandfather was murdered for that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's go with rape because that seems to be the big threat. When historically, white men have raped the shit out of black women for 400 years.
I don't think we
But-
count
but-
as humans.
I
So
know,
that's
but
different.
the fear, it is the fear of the black gorilla, the black strong buck male gorilla that's wild and loose that needs to be contained because he's going to ravage and destroy white. You have raped black women heinously for 400 years.
Yeah.
I don't get where you get the audacity, the mitigated gall to go, it's y'all, when it's been y'all.
So what's an interesting thing is my Lyft driver told me yesterday, he said his few black friends that live here, he said they never buy drinks at the bar. He said the Mormon women buy them drinks. What? I didn't even know they were allowed to drink or buy stuff, but that's what the Lyft driver said. I don't know. I didn't go to the bar here, the diet bar.
It's like I said on Vlad. White people have pulled off the greatest Jedi mind trick in the world. To be feared. To be feared.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
You have been the most heinously vicious race of people on the planet.
So
what?
One of the best things I ever did in my adult life was free myself from the looming cloud of white people being the moral superiors. When people come into my comments and they say real up to me and then are shocked when I make them cry, you were no. You expected me to respond in kind, and I responded in kindness. I mean, you responded to me, next me to respond in kindness, and I responded in kind. And that's your problem, is that you think that you can say whatever the you want to me, and I have to be nice in return. You are not my moral superior. And then you still get to be the bigger person. You are not my moral superior. And I think when I did that, it was like, who the f are you? Like, you don't get to tell me what the f to do. And that just enraged people even more.
Jesse Belvin, they mentioned who, he was in a documentary.
Oh, okay, I know.
Jesse Belvin, who was thought of as an amazing singer at that time, along with Sam Cooke, because he performed in front of an integrated audience when he was told not to. His tires mysteriously slashed. And then, of course, that led to his car accident, which killed him,
and
his wife,
family.
and 3 other people. And now let me just jump ahead, because since I'm on this rhythm here, and I'll get back to the other part. Jim Brown goes, just making hit records didn't do it for Sam Cooke, just like scoring touchdowns didn't do it for me. And Jim Brown goes, you had to ask yourself a question at the time. Were you going to be careful, or were you going to be real? There's a bigger point I want to make about his quote, but I'm going to keep going because I just really want to get to what I wanted to say. So at one point, the mob approached him, Sam Cooke, not to push forward. The FBI was watching them, Ali, Jim Brown, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke. The LAPD openly said in regards to Sam's murder, just another killed. And within a short time span, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, King, and Sam all killed, all powerful, all influential. Why are white people so threatened by black existence and by black excellence? What is the threat? What are you scared is going to happen?
I think racism really is a way that people who are afraid of their own inadequacies can buy into this. It's free, right? I can buy into the concept that I am better than someone else, no matter how bad my life is, right? I am still better than this group of people, genetically, at the very least, right? And so when you see black people excel, when you see black people doing things that you were told that not only could they not do, right, but you could do better, and neither of those things are true, then you are faced with this. That's the vitriol. That's what comes out, is because your cognitive dissonance is shaken. Like your thought process is skewed, because it's like, now I'm confronted with this reality that I may not be better than this person just because. And that's what racism is.
Can I just throw this in there, because for what you're saying and how you just said that, it goes past even with black people. Even if you are white and you lean into seeing the inadequacies that you're presenting and going, that's not correct. You lost both Kennedys at that same time. When that car accident happened that you're talking about, they slashed us. They didn't care who was going to get killed on the other side of that, as long as they got taken out. They didn't care who the other car was going to. Yeah. So although it has to do with race, the consequences of whatever happens next is not important as long as you can control, as long as you can maintain and keep that control.
Not to go off track, but I want to mention this because this is the point where when I was watching this, it really pissed me off about the whole thing, especially that part that I read where it was like they killed King and Medgar, Sam, all powerful, all influential, all trying to do what was going to be better for us and uplift us. And then the comment by the LAPD, just another dead. But then I saw this thing the other day on Instagram. Do you know the story of Mary Turner?
That sounds
Black
familiar.
woman that was hung from the bridge.
When?
You ever seen that picture?
With
of
her
the
babies?
Huh?
With her babies?
No. She was 8 months pregnant. But there's a famous picture of a black woman
like I've seen
hanging from a bridge.
I feel like I've seen it.
Okay, well,
Maybe
here's
the
the story.
edible
Do you know the story of Mary Turner?
I know the story. No, I don't know the story.
I'd always seen the picture, but here's the story. She's 8 months pregnant. Her husband was killed by an angry white mob because a bunch of white slave owners were killed, and they were rumored that he was one of the ones that did it. He wasn't. But because this angry white mob thought, they killed him. So because she spoke out against the murder of her husband, Mary Turner, she's 8 months pregnant. An angry white mob cuts the fetus out of her belly, stomps on it. They hear it squeal. Yeah. Then they shoot it in the head. Yeah. Then they douse her body with gasoline, set her on fire, and hung her upside down on the bridge. And that's when I went, why are white people so evil? I want to know, and I know I asked Andy this before, and this is the part where I go, let me preface it by saying not all. Sure. But you got to understand that as a proud pro-black man, and as an Aries and an alpha male, my natural temperament is to be,
Did
like
you
I said.
Just have a birthday? When was your birthday?
No, it's April 3rd. It's coming up.
Oh.
I always said jokingly, I want to be Michael Corleone, but I'm more Sonny Corleone.
Okay.
I lead with emotion. But I just went, so yeah, I'm not talking to all white people because I don't want to make it seem like you guys are all like that, because we know you're not. But God damn it, why does it seem your race is just embedded with evil? Pure evil. Have other races committed acts of shit? Yes. But when it comes to race,
on such a grand scale,
on such a grand scale, you are just evil. To cut a baby out of an 8-month pregnant woman, stomping it wasn't enough. You had to take your revolver and blow its brains out. And you light her on fire, and you hang her upside down from a bridge. And why? Because she spoke out against the murder of her husband for doing something he didn't even do. Oh yeah, and then slavery was the background. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Jesus Christ. Like I would like to know. I would like to know if there was some sort of historian or some sort of person who could explain to me the psychoses of humans, because no other race seems to be like that. Mm-hmm. And again, I know that we could probably dig deep and go, well, there was an African dictator in Africa who was foul, and there's been this Asian person in the Asian history that did foul. Everybody's done foul, okay? But come on, man. America and white people seem to be the Michael Jordans of heinous.
6 rings.
Heinous happens all the time. I'm not going to say that we're not that this country and the white people in the country haven't led an exceptional. They've taken the bar, but this is even today. Horrible, horrific happenings are happening now. Pol Pot was one of the worst. Hitler was the. We've had this. Yes, Hitler was. What? He's pretty bad. He's pretty bad. Yeah, we have Stalin was bad. One of the.
You're just naming white guys, man.
Well,
it's not proving it wrong.
Pol Pot wasn't white.
Who?
Pol Pot.
I don't know that guy.
Yeah. Well, because he's not white.
Okay.
So we.
Go ahead.
This is what we.
Pol Pot. Educate me.
Can you pull up Pol Pot for her?
Do we have to pull it up?
She wants some she wants the education.
You don't know who he is? No. Oh, I don't either.
But we are very focused on what happens here, and white is very generic here.
1.7 to 2 million deaths. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot.
for that size and that amount of time.
This is the Killing Field stuff.
Yeah.
Still didn't beat Hitler or Stalin or Leopold.
Yeah,
But that
okay.
being said, can you do you have any insight to answer that question? I just want to know.
Power.
Like,
Power.
so it's just power?
Power.
Power
sure.
always makes people.
Power corrupts. Power, absolute power
But
corrupts.
how come we don't seem to want to seek it as bad as they do?
Because we don't have the power.
So you're saying that if we had the opportunity to be that powerful, it's innate within us
Not really.
Exactly.
No, but
that's my point.
Well,
We're not like that as a culture and a people.
I think in that respect, right, it's because we are culturally more empathetic, right? Because of the world we live in. As a Black woman, I have to exist with empathy because the world doesn't give me that. Right?
But
it's hard for me. I don't get grace from the world. So I am innately, because of how the world treats me, I respond with empathy because the world doesn't give it to me. And I know that is how I have to communicate with other Black people that the world doesn't give. Empathy to. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense to you.
No. I see what you're saying.
Like the Black women, we are consistently downed by so many different entities. And so we are consistently looking for some sort of, right? Like it's why we see in the media like Black women viewed as like this advice column, right? Like she knows what's going on. Sister girl can tell me how to not be a person. It's because that's the culture. We are looking for empathy. We are looking for empathy.
I'm sorry, but I saw, and again, these are all things that within this, how long we been doing this pod? 6 years? 5 years?
Five or more.
Within this time, there are things that Andy and I have touched on multiple times. And I remember we touched upon this. Like I saw a thing on Instagram yesterday, or maybe TikTok, where they were talking about, I forget the year or the century, but, there were some places in Europe where, white people didn't really brush their teeth. They had rotting teeth. And I forget what they called it. They would in these in England. They would in these bowls and then just toss the feces outside and
into the street.
And it got so bad. And it was like, the Moors taught y'all cleanliness. Mm-hmm. Black people taught white people how to clean themselves. Mm-hmm. But yet we're called savages.
Sure.
Murder, rape, mayhem, destruction, chaos. Historically, white people have done that. But we, again, are called the animals.
Sure.
We're called the savages. When in fact, we are the opposite of that. I'm sorry. It reminds me of Malcolm X, the movie. And Denzel has that scene with Brother Baines. Take everything the white man says and use it against him. And he opens up the dictionary. Black men are foul and this and that. And he points to white. What does white mean? Pure and innocent. And like, what? What?
Yeah.
History says otherwise.
Yeah.
That's just a trip to me.
Racism doesn't require logic to be racism.
Racism
right?
needs not an unlogical place to live.
It's like, okay, everything is backwards, right? Like Black women are considered.
And for the record, I'm still trying to teach Andy to use a washcloth.
Okay.
Never going to use that washcloth.
What?
That washcloth is dirty.
My point. But go ahead.
That's
go ahead.
disgusting.
I had to take the moment.
Black women are considered like bad mothers, right? Like we're considered not good caretakers, but then we're nannies.
But
right? Black women aren't sexy.
But who says?
But Andy, I know what you're about to do. But hold on.
No,
go
but
ahead.
I want to know who says it though. Who is? Are you talking about the white community?
No, but I like how you say that with a tone like what she's saying is preposterous.
No. I'm asking.
Who's saying that?
No. I'm asking. Here's what I'm asking, and it's different than what you think I'm asking. In your view, as a Black woman, who's saying that to you?
Society. I think there's absolutely certain themes that society
projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, okay, Black people are considered lazy. We're so lazy that the people who called us lazy went to go get us to do their work.
Yeah.
Again,
the Jedi mind trick.
It doesn't need to be logical to be racism. Like, black women aren't sexy. But then again, we were raped for 400 years. Like, it doesn't
And
have
black
to...
women aren't sexy, but women today are getting butt injections for
Sure,
bigger
to look-
asses.
yeah.
Are getting lip injections for fuller lips. Are getting tans for darker skin.
AAVE isn't professional, but it's used in marketing. It doesn't
Everybody
have to
want to
make
be it, but don't nobody want to be it.
It doesn't have to make sense.
I understand the look part because magazines and everything have always perpetuated in this country. So that one I get. But I wanted to understand when you said that about. I want to understand that society is projecting that on you.
You
This
don't
society.
think that like society projects this image of black women who are single mothers and on welfare and can't keep their legs closed? You don't think that that image is projected? And their children are unruly. You don't think that that image is projected?
You know what it is. Me, the way and Aries says this about me a lot. It's because of the way I grew up. I always found Hispanic women and black women to be caretakers because a lot of white women went to
but
work.
Now that you're an adult and you've been around the world,
I still see it that same way in my head, and I have to get out of my head to think about it that way.
Okay, that's fair. But I absolutely feel that was the image that society projects as black mothers as incompetent. Their children are bad, and they don't know how to discipline them. Their kids are bad students. That's a real thing that society.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I know that the most educated people in this country now are black women. So for me, that's why I asked you. I wanted that because in my head, maybe because I have some logic,
Right.
that I'm using it in a different way. So that's why I wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah, but again, I mean, like, would you like to work for me? Would you like to work for my family? Would you like to be my nanny? Sure.
Yeah, and if that's the case, how can you think that they're not
Yeah.
caregivers with them? So but I get what you're saying. I want to hear from you because I didn't look at it that way. I've always looked at it as a different way.
I'll go back to the Jim Brown thing, that second part. And I just thought, when he said that about are you going to be careful or are you going to be real? And I go to be in a position where you even have to contemplate that is unfortunate to the fans who get robbed of seeing you flourish in your God-given talent. We would have loved, especially as guys, to see Jim Brown continue to do what he did. We as guys would love to have seen, maybe certain black artists.
What happened with Jim Brown?
Huh?
He couldn't play anymore?
No, he quit.
What?
He quit because he became an activist.
Oh.
So this is probably at that time, and it's maybe hailed as one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Except for that other
and
guy.
the fans got robbed to see him flourish in his gift because he had to take a stand. And as beautiful and noble as that is, again, maybe we're being selfish, but as a fan of you, I want to see you do what you do.
Right.
But for you to have to be in that position where you're choosing to be real over, I don't know, selfishly giving my joy of seeing you score a touchdown.
I have a thought, right? So the NFL is beautiful, and it's, because nuances, nothing is really 100% good and nothing is really 100% bad. I do think that some things are more than others, but the NFL, for instance, has made a lot of black men rich, right? Like, has enriched a lot of black communities in terms of the people who are now wealthy, have gone back into these communities and served their communities. With that said, I imagine what kind of change would really happen if all the black NFL players boycotted.
Boy, again, when the whole, I think it was during COVID or shortly, whatever, when athletes were kind of playing, but they were in the bubble. And of course, all of them were wearing the shirts in unison, I can't breathe, and blah, blah, blah. And at one point, there was a moment where they talked about boycotting the games, but that died out quickly. And again, this has always been the thing that we've said. The black dollar is one of the mightiest dollars in the United States in terms of buying power. We spend more money and blah, blah, blah. If we all just said, let's form like Voltron. Let's put our power, let's really do this. But we never do. Somewhere along the way, we talk a good game, but then we bail out. And so at that point, I don't blame anybody but us. Because we don't seem to have the cojones to see it through. We talking.
I know. Target is feeling the heat. Target is feeling
Are
the
they
heat.
really, or are you being
Oh,
funny?
no, they are. Oh, from the unsuppressed information that I received on social media, their stocks are not doing the greatest since the... listen, is he pulling it up? Is that what we're doing? That doesn't look good. Is it crashing? Doesn't look like it's doing as good as it used to.
But the answer to our problem has to be so much bigger than Target.
That's true.
I'm just saying, okay, that's cute. But in the bigger scheme of things, based on what you're saying, if we only did that, could you imagine if the NFL, the NBA, what other sports do?
Baseball. But see, they used to be separate.
And so here's the thing with that too. Like people in the NFL and NBA, obviously there is a large pay gap discrepancy along spectrum, right? But they also have the ability to do that better than the average person, right? They would be fine more than the person boycotting or striking who's living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, but a lot of the athletes, regardless, are living paycheck to paycheck.
Listen, but here's my thing, though, and let's be honest. There's a reason why they say there's strength in numbers. And if we really wanted to, as a community, let's call it the sports community, which essentially is the black community, if they all said to, am I my brother's keeper? Hey, man, you might make 10 times more than me. So while I'm living paycheck to paycheck, you're living paycheck to paycheck is a little bit better. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to supplement your income. I'm going to supplement you. I'm going to hold on to you, your family. So as we do this together, whatever struggles you face that might not be as hard as mine, I got you. We could get it done.
Sure.
But we ain't doing
We are not there.
that.
No.
And as soon as that shiny object is dangled in our face, hey, black man, a Maybach. Hey, black man, a white woman with big titties. Hey, black man, all this money. We turn into that. I don't know what them niggas talking about.
No,
I'm about to go get this here money.
I do believe that. I do believe that.
That's why I'm just saying it's a beautiful idea in theory.
Sure, but it's not.
But
gonna
it's
happen.
just not. It's
Well,
not
what are you
gonna
trying to
happen.
get though?
What we need to get, what we deserve to get, what we're fighting to get.
What?
I think that's
You
our
tell
way
me
of
what?
things.
What is it? What do you think we're talking about?
You know that tax bracket's going to affect you. You're going to have to be supplementing some other people too.
Did you hear what I just said?
You do
If
that?
we stand together, that's the whole point.
But okay,
I said, look, I wish we would do it from an entertainment standpoint. I go, now imagine, Kevin Hart got over 300 million followers.
Yeah.
I just hit 1 million.
Yeah.
Whether it's my million, his 300 million, let's say some black comedian that only has 300,000. If we all went, anytime one of us posts something, we all repost it.
Okay.
Let's creatively go, my man right here who you may not know from this city,
Yes.
who only got 300,000 followers, he's an incredible artist. So to my, 300 million followers, put your eyeballs on him.
Yeah.
Support him.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
I
if we
100%
fucking
understand.
really, but I've reached out sometimes and I've had to chase certain. Hey man, can you repost my? Yeah, I got you. Wolf tickets. So what are you gonna do? I'm just saying to your point. If black people listen,
When people ask me to
if we've
post stuff, I
never
post
proven
stuff.
anything, when we do something, we put that razzmatazz on it.
Yeah.
We take whatever's been done and take it up 3 notches. So imagine if we did that from that standpoint.
Sure.
Let's
sure.
band together and show our asses. Oh, we'd really be hated. We'd really be hated.
I mean, give them a good reason. They're gonna do it anyway.
but when you talk about the professional leagues, their money's made on television contracts. So you have to secure television rights. You need media. You're still 13% of the population.
Sure.
So at 13% of the population, media is concerned with that other percentage of the population.
Okay.
Even if you have the best game, but you can't get it broadcast.
So,
But at some point you have to pose the threat.
Yes, I'm not saying you're right. I said, but what I'm saying is, we're talking about the team. BET was a black entertainment television. It's not owned by black entertainment now.
Viacom.
That's the build. It has to be.
It was at one point, though.
Yeah, it was, but that's the build. It needs to stay, and you need to grow. You need to grow that media empire. And there's people that are attempting to do that now. But when I talk to you, when we talk to what's the dude's name in Atlanta that has his
Tyler Perry.
But where's the surge of people that are going to support Tyler Perry to make him the biggest empire?
What?
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't. Tyler Perry is so rich.
No. I get what he's saying. To his point, and I had this conversation yesterday on the black radio station here. Tyler Perry is that, but he's one.
Sure.
Whereas Jeffrey Katzenberg, David Geffen, Spielberg, DreamWorks, they're three. So you mean to tell me with Oprah out there, a billionaire?
Yeah.
Before he got in trouble, P. Diddy, a billionaire. Jay-Z, a billionaire.
Oprah has own.
Oh,
Oprah has own.
okay.
She does have own.
Okay, great. But where's where's our version of DreamWorks? We keep working as individuals.
Okay.
When we band together to make those groups, that's what I think in terms of what he's saying, media. We can become that.
So,
but in order for us to become that, we have to make that.
My critique on Tyler Perry is that he doesn't have a writer's room. So a lot of the opportunities that could be for black people in Atlanta, right? Writers, they don't have the opportunity. He writes all of his shows. And so a lot of the things, and there are a lot of...
Well, he should stop doing that.
Well, he could write his own shows, but he has a whole... he has the ability to produce more and more. That's what I'm at. That's what but he needs the other people, like Aries was just saying. Where is the group?
I don't think he does. I don't think he wants the other people.
Okay, so
then that's the problem.
That's exactly.
Yeah, but that's a Tyler Perry problem. That's not a community problem.
Why shouldn't it be a community problem? Is he not part of the community?
No.
He depends on the community to make that money.
Sure, I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I am saying that is his power, right?
Which should be our power.
Prime example, right? And I'm probably going to get in trouble with my agent if she ever sees me talking about Tyler Perry and living in Atlanta. There is a school that is very close to the Tyler Perry studios. Tyler Perry has managed to do some really fun stuff with taxes, and that school does not get that tax money for the Tyler Perry studios right across the street because of fun with taxes, right? So you can't really say you're giving back to the community when you are stealing millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars in taxes from the black community that your studio is situated in. But thank you for the turkeys for Christmas. You see what I'm saying? If you have the power to steal from your community, you have the power. Your community doesn't. And to your point, right? That's where the community comes together and takes the power. But they're not going to do that from Tyler because they want their turkeys in their Walmart layaway paid off.
But what I think what I'm saying is, and I'm looking at it big picture because I can only look at it big picture. I can't look at it in...
Sure.
So the big picture is we're talking about athletes, and they could just boycott, and that would slow things down. But we have one man... Mm-hmm. And you're like, and that's a Tyler Perry thing that you just said. But what I'm saying is, it's going to take a whole group of athletes to lose their money and possibly lose their millions of dollars. But one man is sitting on that, and I'm not saying he has to. I'm saying, how do we open that? That's the key to the success because you need the media. You need media, and there's certain people in.
So what are you suggesting people do in terms of...
I don't know, but I'm going about what Aries said. What Aries was saying when we have groups of artists that come together in what is the white community, Katzenberg, Spielberg, who else? Okay, to make this Geffen. And that has to, if you want action, that has to be reflected because that's how that media empire builds.
Well,
we need to build
Tyler
these media.
Perry and Oprah do work together. Yeah, I mean, it's not too many black billionaires that are in that industry anyway, right? Like, I think you also have to respect the growth because, again, nothing is 100% bad, nothing is 100% good, right? There is the fact that Tyler Perry has grown an empire, that there is
Studios could be
there is that ability to have for black people to enter that market. It's not going to happen overnight. But I also think, again, having someone who kind of stifles the creativity in a way in the black community in Atlanta is the biggest mogul there. It's kind of
Okay, but if The Rock said, okay, we want to film this movie, but I want to use Tyler Perry Studios.
They do.
Okay.
They 100% do. Are you serious? Yeah, it's a whole bunch of non-Tyler Perry movies that are filmed in Tyler Perry Studios. Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. The groups, though, need to move in that direction to build that media, to build more empire. That's all that's what I'm getting at. I know there are some, but it needs. There isn't as many as there could be.
I want to get back to these last 2 points about Sam, and then
Do you want to do this as
No, I don't.
You want to do the
Yes,
Okay.
because we're done. But I just wanted to bring it back to Sam to bring it home.
Okay.
So as shady and as mysterious as his murder was, my only thing, and I've always said I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to be naive and act like it don't happen. But that being said, this whole thing where it was like, that night he went to the seedy motel with this hooker.
That was lying.
Right. And but I go, no one forced him to hook up with that hooker or pick the seedy motel where the manager Bertha was, who shot him and said to have ties with the mob. If Sam makes different decisions that night, he's still alive. So was it a setup? Was it the mob? He picked the seedy motel that the hooker.
Did he or did she suggest that hotel?
But
we don't know.
But we don't. But even but again, my point is, even if he decides that night
Not to do that.
then he's alive. So was it the mob? Was it a setup? Or it just he made a bad choice?
She could have walked up to him. Again, we don't know. One of the things is, like, I'm very big on believe women, right? That was lying. Like, it was so rehearsed. It was so histrionic. It was like, it was over the top. It was ridiculous. Like, that didn't even, it sounded like she was reading from a script. Like, what?
But did the black woman who was running the hotel, was she in on it?
But she's the one they were saying had ties to the mob.
Okay, but before that, they said, okay, boom. First he's at the bar at the restaurant. He pulls out this big wad of cash. I forget how many thousands it was. And especially in that time, that's almost $1 million.
Yeah.
But then they go to the seedy motel. The hooker says that he kind of basically like was about to rape her. He takes his pants off. She takes the pants, throws it out the window, in which case her pimp comes by to get the money. That's one thing. But then Sam is the one who goes to Bertha, the one who runs the motel, ranting and raving about the moment, and that's when she kills him. It just feels like some of these decisions or some of these things happen because of what Sam did.
Poor bad decisions on his part. Yeah.
So I don't understand where the tie is to a setup.
The only person who said that in the documentary at least, that he went to her room and was like ranting and raving was her, right? Like, that may not have been what happened. He may have very well been looking for her, right? But again, they might have all been in on it.
Well, how does his pants come off and get thrown out the window?
I think they was finna fuck for real.
Yeah.
I think that was gonna happen.
It could have been, honestly, though, it could have been as easy as a setup where she knew the lady at the hotel. She goes in, they see the wad of money, they go after her. They go after him to get him to the hotel. He gets his pants off. She throws it out. She runs into the office of the manager's office, and he's pounding on the door on the outside. And then she takes the opportunity and kills him. It didn't have to go all the way up to the mob. It could have been as simple as a small crime.
And you're not gonna tell me that lady didn't know who he was.
The hooker or the Bertha?
Bertha.
If he's pounding on the outside of the door and she can't see him, she might not know who he is.
Did she shoot through the door?
No, but once you open the door and you start firing their gun, you don't know who it is until after you.
Sure.
I'm just saying it could have been that. It could have been as simple as an easy. He was a mark. He had a big wad of cash. They were trying to get it, and then the end ensues.
Again, it could have been exactly the way it happened, right?
But it should have been investigated.
Yeah,
and that's
but and then they threw in, just for context, they did mention earlier that again, what Sam was doing musically in terms of the industry was becoming so powerful that the mob even went to him and said, "Hey man, either cut us in or drop this."
Or cut it out, yeah.
And because he didn't cut it out or do either.
It could very well be that.
It could very well be the mob.
Yeah. She just seems so full of
the hooker. Oh, I wanted to punch her in the face.
She just, and I mean, if you watch it, she just seemed like she was reading a script.
And he couldn't pick a better grade of ass.
Well, when
she looked like Manny Pacquiao without the facial hair.
One Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, I know. I went to have sex with him. I went to.
She did not have an accent.
No, but Manny Pacquiao does. Let me bring, and this brings me to the last point. And again, talking about where I go, the superhero that Sam Cooke was.
Okay.
Now, this dude, Alan Klein, who was the one who said to him, "I think the record company's you out of your royalties." So he says to Sam, "I'll get you paid." To which he does. But then Sam is crafting this deal that when Sam was sick and wasn't really paying attention until he got sick and read the contract, the fine print, Alan Klein had put in the lingo that basically Sam works for me. Mm-hmm. I get 90%.
He reversed it. Yeah.
He reversed it. And again,
90%.
Well, it basically, if you work for me, he's getting the bulk of the. But again, this is something that Andy and I have talked about. Where I go, so Alan Klein over, and it said when they mentioned his history, he had an association with the Rolling Stones. He
him over,
broke up the Beatles, and then I go, if you don't get greedy, and you're working with the Stones and the Beatles and Sam, aren't you gonna make good money already?
Great money.
Why risk it all
because
over
people
greed?
over money get psychotic and think
That's insane,
But
man.
when they say he broke up the Beatles, the reason that broke up is because the Beatles wanted to go with him except for Paul McCartney, because Paul McCartney's wife, his dad said you can, and so then he didn't want to go with him, and they had him look into him, and that's what ended the Beatles. That guy was
Yoko Ono, so I'm.
Yeah, Yoko Ono is another part of it, but that is really the separation right there, and it was over money again.
You know,
I got one more thing I want to get to before we're all done. No, because
yeah.
mine's separate from this, but I want to.
But and again, I always say, maybe because I don't swim in those waters, I'm talking from lack of experience. But me living in my skin for 49 years, I think I know me at this point enough to know, even if my dreams came true tomorrow, and I won't even say Elon wealthy. Let's go Kanye wealthy. Give me $2 billion. I wouldn't go there. Because as wealthy as I'd like to be,
I'd be somewhere on an island.
I look at it and go, am I gonna up something good? Because I just am gonna be that greedy. I don't need it like that. I want it, and if you give me a good taste of it, I'm good. And plus, I don't have the moral, ethics to just be a dirtbag. I don't get it. I don't get that.
But I wonder how many people thought that before they got that super rich too. Right?
This is why I'm saying maybe I'm speaking out of experience.
I don't think Kanye ever thought he was like, oh, I'm gonna get rich and then I'm gonna be humble.
That's why when you go, yo, money makes you psychotic. I don't know, because I don't have that kind of money, but I really feel like I could still keep me if I got it. I would love to know if it makes you go.
Money gives you the luxury to be crazy.
Well, it depends on your motivation level. If you're motivated to have to want a house, like a nice house, maybe a vacation house, and you want to enjoy those things, and your motivation is I want to enjoy my life, I don't want to work. You can be a billionaire and go, yeah, that's enough. It's going to make me what I need, and it's going to continue to make that money for me. But if you have a work ethic, and some of these people are mentally crazy that they can't stop working,
Elon,
they got to keep going. They can't stop.
Rihanna stopped.
Some people
She
stop.
stopped the music.
Some people stop. But I would also say that and I'm not giving Kanye a break on this. What I want to say is, I think that I wish that people would look at the loss of his mother and actually understanding mental health and a breakdown that I don't think has ever been addressed. And I'm not giving him a pass, but I have empathy towards someone who's is in a mental situation, and I think that that's where he still is. And I think that his mom passing, because she was the only one.
You think that broke him?
No, I think that he's
Kanye or Elon?
Kanye. I'm talking about Kanye right now. Kanye, I think, always had some mental issues, and I think his mom was the one who could connect with him and help him through things. And when she was gone, I don't think he had anybody, and I think this is why we get the Kanye that we have today. And I think it's a critical breakdown, and he's allowed to do what he wants. And this is where the money is dangerous, because you have so much money that people can't talk to you.
I know, yeah.
Okay, but what I would like to say, because since I just defended Kanye a little bit, I don't know if I defended him or just had some empathy towards someone that I think is in a critical situation. And you said I need to be more Jewish. I would like to bring this up though, because we did watch the documentary together, and you did bring up why the Ku Klux Klan was brought to fruition. But I would like to remind you in that when they're talking about the bombing of the Jewish temple and what happened in there by the Ku Klux Klan just before he was supposed to sing, and that's one of the reasons that made them more nervous. Why they brought out the National Guard.
Yeah.
It was in the synagogue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're talking about the Clark moment.
Yeah, because they were already worried because the Ku Klux Klan had been so active and already had bombed the synagogue. So I'm just reminding you that even though the Ku Klux Klan had a side hustle. Is what I wanted to say.
I know they weren't.
I know you did, but I wanted to throw that in there.
Like there were freedom fighters who, like, there was Jewish freedom fighters that died, and defending civil rights.
I wasn't even bringing that up. I just wanted. I thank you, but I just wanted to make sure because Jews are thought of as white, and some white people don't think of them as white.
Diet white.
Just a different white.
Off-white.
Eggshell white.
Right, off-white.
There's a lot of Jews that don't live in this country that don't look white.
There are a lot with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Ethiopians. That
Sure.
are Jews.
There's that.
Yeah, there's a give and take in this.
Yeah,
So
That was the point you wanted to make.
I wanted to make sure because she said that she needed me to be more
I still
Jewish.
need
So
you to be a little more Jewish.
No, that was the point.
I still need to be a little more Jewish.
Well, there we go. It's called The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. I know we veered off.
Well, I have to ask you a question though, because there was a point when you told me about the
I'm glad
movie,
you mentioned this.
and you wanted to punch the white dude after the movie was over. You said after you watched the first time.
I was.
What part made you want to just go ham on someone like that?
I was sitting on a plane, and there was a white guy next to me, and the part when they talked about again how they killed Medgar, Malcolm.
Just the whole
all at that same time, and the footage and the way they edited it together. And yeah, man, I wanted to sock this white man in his face because I was just mad.
He did nothing to you.
No, he ain't. But damn it,
You got to be better than your oppressor.
No, but this is what I'm saying, and I'm glad when you mentioned, and I know this, and I've said this. There were white freedom fighters. So yes, not all white people, but god damn it, come get your mans.
It's enough. It's more than enough.
Like you want to look at the racist ones and then look at the non-racist ones and go, hey, come get your mans. What the man?
I think the worst subcategory is the ones who don't think that racism doesn't happen because they don't see it or they're not witnesses to it. Because in that way, in that space is still racism, because you are saying that your experience is the default and that anything that you see or anything that happens has to filter through you to be real. And not only that, you're denying someone else's experience because you didn't see it.
I did. The reason I asked you that, though, I didn't want to bring up that moment. The reason I did ask you is because when I watched it, I was like, I didn't see the moment that would make you feel that way. That just some random stranger next to you.
It was that, and then I'm glad you brought it back up because I was going to forget to mention it. But, the doc itself is so great, and I watched it twice back to back. But the part that got me to tearing was the end, when they play A Change Gonna Come.
Yeah.
Because I've said this, and I'm going to say it again. There's a line in that song that moves the shit out of me. And Andy and I have talked about, like, listen, man, I'm scared to die, because, we've talked religion, And I go, if there's a better place than here, and it's everything they say it is, and I always jokingly go, if heaven is Studio 54 without the cocaine, or maybe
Or
with the
I think
cocaine,
with. I
but
think.
no death
No death.
and no pain.
Listen.
Nigga, sign me up for heaven. I'm out of here.
Listen, party all the time.
But if there is no afterlife, if this is all there is, and then once it's over, and we get a Sopranos ending with just black. And nothing else, I'm scared of that. And so in the song, when he goes, it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die because I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. I get choked up. Because that's me. I'm scared. I don't want to die. But because if there's nothing else.
I mean, I believe in ghosts. So
Yeah, that.
you don't believe in ghosts? I'm
man,
agnostic and believe in ghosts.
Listen, I saw someone.
You believe in energy then?
Sure.
I saw something on TikTok that was being described as what happens when you die. And here's what heaven really is according to the Bible. And everything is golden and white and looks beautiful and blah, blah, blah. And they go, you'll be with your loved ones and you this and you this. And then I went, yeah, but it's their sex. If I came in heaven, I don't know that it's all that. If I die and come back, go to heaven with the same me, same energy, I know who I am. And let's say you
The best version of yourself.
the best version. And let's say you pass.
25-year-old Kyla.
And you pass. And I go, hey, Kyla, hey, Andy. And we gonna party and eat like kings and queens. That's wonderful.
You think there's food in heaven?
Listen, all I'm saying is if there is
I don't think there's meat in heaven.
if there's all of those things that we like, let's just assume there is. And we can live forever and fly. Wonderful. If I can't get no,
You don't want to go. If there's in hell, you're going.
I don't know about that either. I don't know if I want to do that either. But God damn it, can I come?
But you'll think about it. You'll think about it.
I don't want to be in hell, but I want to come. If heaven is what they say it is, you gotta let me come.
And Satan might be like, come to hell.
But what if it just heaven feels like you're coming all the time?
Oh.
Nah, that can't be good either.
You have to
You
have
need
some
a
balance.
break, some balance.
But I mean, if you're feeling nirvana all the
The time.
But isn't that supposed to be what the beauty of it is? That you
Right.
feel nirvana all the time.
Right.
That's what makes it heaven.
That's what orgasm is. Nirvana. Like nirvana. It's the highest. Like, can you imagine just, I'm floating all the time, just floating. It's like being high all the time. That's why I'm high all the time. Because I'm in heaven.
I don't want to.
Isn't it supposed to be because you're with Jesus all the time?
He's cool. I don't follow him on Instagram though. So.
I just thought it was funny that he finally commented because I was just going to ask you something. I was going to ask you, do you think Mark is afraid of her because this was the quietest he's been since he's been on podcast?
Oh.
No, I wouldn't say fear. I just think he understood the assignment. You know what I mean? We didn't need a punter. we didn't need to
What is
kick
the
the
dude
field goal.
that didn't play? The dude that was talking about women. The one who did the commencement speech and was like, women shouldn't be working, and then he's the Kansas City chief kicker.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the players' names.
Butner, but anyway, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm not a football guy like that.
But yeah, all that being said, it was a beautiful moment in the doc when they played the song. It's a beautiful song. To me, it's just as powerful in association with him as Georgia is with Ray Charles.
Okay.
When you hear Georgia, you know that's
Georgia.
So,
But when you hear Change Gonna
I like
Come,
that little vibrato. That was nice.
oh yeah, I like
nice.
that. That was unexpected.
but he talks about being influenced by Bob Dylan. You don't think you want to listen to any Bob Dylan songs just to check it out?
You know what? Let me just say this, and I'm so sorry. I had one Bob Dylan note.
Robert Dylan.
When he said,
How white artists could make.
well, Bob Dylan popped up in this, and Sam even said in so many ways, Bob was the first to sing about social change, which led the way. So they're giving him that credit. They're giving Bob Dylan that credit.
I think they are.
I guess so, because I'm
know.
going,
Well, I
who
don't
black
know.
musically led the way? Who black musically led
I
the
don't
way?
know. And not saying that isn't possible.
I think in that type of music.
No, well,
In that type of music.
okay, because Billie Holiday definitely
Yeah.
had Strange Fruit.
But you know who wrote that,
Written
right?
by a white guy.
No, a Jewish
guy.
guy, yeah.
A white
Yeah,
Jewish guy.
you just told
A
me.
white Jewish
you just told me
guy,
I got to be Jewish, so I threw it out there.
Okay.
We all have to know our
Happy
history, right?
Hanukkah,
We have to know our
Andy.
history.
It's called The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. It's an excellent documentary on Netflix. Another documentary that Andy and I will be discussing shortly is The Downfall of Diddy, which is a great one. 5 parts. And I'm going to just say, you know, what I said about Chris Brown in regards to Diddy. Diddy's a piece of
I'm
going to leave it at that.
I think it should have only been 3 episodes, and it should have been called "Take That, Take That, Take That." And you know what? If you ever read the comments on this, they love when we do this with each other. I don't know why
What?
people, the
You
people
and
who watch,
I?
yeah, the people who watch it, and when I read
Our
com-
banter?
yeah, they like
That just
it.
means I have to come back.
Yeah, they
It's
love, they
fine.
like
Ring
it.
number 6.
Jordan,
You know what I'm saying?
what city's next?
You know what I mean? Anything you want to give out before we go?
A shout out to my mom and my
Oh, hey.
animals.
Your animals.
I have like a little menagerie.
I couldn't believe
They're
this. When
not-
I couldn't believe when I heard this about her. I did not know this.
I am a cat lady.
You Ace Ventura?
Lace Ventura.
Lace Ventura.
Lace Ventura. Actually.
like it. I
yeah,
like
I have
it.
4 animals. Well,
Hit that-
4
hit-
cats and a dog.
Hit that Georgia thing again.
Georgia.
Georgia.
Hey.
Yeah, I didn't know you was going to do that. I didn't know we was playing pickup ball. Go ahead with the dates.
You want dates? Real quick, guys. Next week, we're going to be in Albany, New York at the Funny Bone. That's the 21st to the 22nd. February 27th through March 2nd, we're going to be at the D.C. Improv, obviously in D.C. So looking forward to getting back out in D.C. It's going to be cold, and we're going to have to do our
love
merch
it.
outside.
I love it.
Outside.
I'm going to love it.
Oh, my God. It's going to be so cold. Let's see. March 7th through the 8th, the Funny Bone in Virginia Beach. March 13th through the 16th, the Ontario Improv, Ontario, California. Let's see, March 20th through the 22nd, One Night Stands. Our first time. That's your first time out there too, right, Aries?
I believe so.
Yeah, out in Michigan. All right, yeah, Waterford. March 28th through the 29th, Cincinnati Funny Bone in Liberty Township. April 4th through the 6th, we're going to be at San Jose Improv, and April 11th through the 13th, we'll be at the Funny Bone in Cleveland, Ohio. Leave it right there.
You love Cleveland. Believeland. Believeland.
Cleveland is like a hemorrhoid in my ass that I can't get rid of.
Okay.
Do you? I feel so bad when you say that for all these poor people in Cleveland that just because Cleveland has such a heaviness to it. I always think of Cleveland as the, you know what, the character on the Peanuts, what's his Pigpen, and it has that cloud over him the
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah.
That's how I feel about the people in Cleveland. It just seems so heavy. They come to the comedy show.
I'm gonna tell you what city I don't like, and it's gonna create a lot of hate in the comments. But I love the people.
I like the
I
people
wanna
too.
say-
I'm not knocking Cleveland. I
This-
just want to say
no,
that. Okay.
I love the people. I do not like New Orleans.
You know?
I hate New Orleans.
Well, you got to go there for what it's meant for.
Yeah.
Debauchery?
Like,
Debauchery.
yeah, vomit on your shoes.
Drinking, debauchery,
Stinky
hooers,
streets.
jazz music. Listen, you don't like hanging out in the French Quarter?
I don't like drunk people like that, for real.
But,
I
but you don't
understand
like,
that
you don't
feeling.
like
I
I'm a high
understand.
person.
I
I
know,
like
but
being high. I
You don't like the
Drunk people be
jazz
throwing
and
up
the
and-
New
You're an
Orleans.
energy. You are an energy person.
Yeah,
There's a different energy with high
Yeah,
over
yeah, it's
alcohol.
like-
But you're talking about some of the greatest music artistically.
Sure, I got an iPad and I got AirPods. I can listen at home.
Oh, I haven't been to New Orleans in I don't know how long.
I've been a few times. I'm cool.
Really?
The ghosts bother me too. I've always had ghost encounters. That's one reason why I believe in ghosts. I've had ghost encounters in New Orleans, and you cannot.
You
tell
believe
me
in ghosts?
100%.
You
100%.
ever had a ghost eat you when you sleep?
No, I did not. That I remember.
Okay. If you see me in a white sheet tonight,
Get out of here. I had a ghost in my house for real.
really?
Okay, I'm gonna tell the story real quick, and then so this was maybe 6 months after my cousin passed, so I'm wondering if it's her. My friend came to visit, and she was staying with me, and we went out to like a poetry slam, right? So we came back, we were eating food. The way that my house is situated is I have like a pretty large, sizable piece of land, right? So my dining room and kitchen face like a wooded area. So we're sitting there, we're eating, and then all of a sudden we hear hello and music, right? So we both instinctively pick up our phones, and there's nothing going on in either of our phones, right? So she says she hears music. I hear someone say hello, right? But the sound was coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. So we were looking around like, what the was that? No electronics were on at all. Only the light in the kitchen and the light in the dining room were on. My house, again, it's a good space away from the next house, all around.
And you say you do edibles.
I wasn't even high at the time.
But it said hello.
Yeah,
Ray
but
Charles.
it was shortly after my
It
cousin
could have been.
passed.
It could have been two different ghosts. It could have been Ray Charles, which would have been.
I think it was
hello,
my cousin.
Or it could have been Lionel Richie. Hello.
Yeah, but Lionel's alive, so it's probably wasn't him. Could have been Adele, you know.
Does she have a song called Hello?
Yeah, hello, it's me. You don't know that song?
No.
Oh my God!
See-
See, one of her hugest songs.
He knows no white people shit. He
No,
really
that's not
doesn't.
true. You know that's not
No,
true.
I know, but I'm giving you a hard time about
I
it.
rock out with
That
hunkies.
is like one of
hard.
her biggest songs.
But you don't know. You
Hello from
you,
the other side.
You
I
need.
never heard that.
You like white people shit that has some seasoning on it. That's your thing. You
Well,
don't.
I like a lot of '80s white people.
I
shit.
like a lot of different white people. I'm a big Fiona Apple fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't listen to a lot of white women.
I have a few.
Yeah,
I
I like a couple of joints by Amy Winehouse.
I love Amy Winehouse.
I love Amy
I-
Winehouse.
Amy and
I
Fiona
like
are
one
my
song
favorite.
by this white chick, Sarah Bareilles.
Oh,
But-
I'm not gonna write you a love song.
Now gonna write you
Yeah.
a love song. I love that. That's my. Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in the suburbs of Orlando, so.
yeah.
But Amy
Plus,
Winehouse is
listen.
probably my
I
favorite.
stay listening to white music because it helps me
Connect.
with white women.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? If you want to some white, you got to know some white songs.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I see white women rap along to every Drake lyric,
That's
they
women.
want you to know. They want you to know.
When I get white women, I don't go for white women that want to be. I get pure white women.
Oh, okay. All right.
Uncut cocaine.
Wow, Colombian, but not Colombian. But
I
could
want
be
the kind of white
Colombian.
woman that if you see me with her, I could catch a case.
Or better credit score.
My credit's already good.
Oh, well, there you go. That's why they're with you.
There you go. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was long, but we had company, so we had to break out to China. We had company. Love you, baby.
Same. Ditto.
Yes.
Love you
Can't
back.
wait till the next time.
Listen, fly me somewhere where weed is legal.
You know, I ain't gonna lie. I think you already know this, or if you don't know, you know I low key want to you.
Oh my God. You
Have a
don't
good.
want that.
That's
No,
the
you
show.
don't do that.
Really? Is it gonna be some
It's
ghosts?
terrible.
I can't even tell you I love you after that sounds dirty now.
Let me ask you this: do you know what an Eiffel Tower is?
Oh,
actually,
we got to go. We got
that
to go.
sounds something. Is that like the devil's threesome?
No, it's here. Let's tell her that.
I
We're gonna
like,
go.
I
I like
don't
the
know if I
devil's
would.
threesome. Is it what I? Is it
The
same?
devil's threesome?
That's the
What's
same
the
as
devil's threesome?
It's supposed to be like two men and a woman.
yeah.
Well, that's
the Eiffel.
No, but that's not the Eiffel Tower.
I bet it's the same thing though.
No, it's not.
I just feel
she
like
would
it's
know.
something
it's a position. The
I'm
Eiffel Tower is
I'm
Eiffel Tower is a
vanilla.
position.
Do you know this position?
No,
Okay, here's what
I
it is.
don't even speak French
Here's
for
what it
4
is.
years
But
in
picture this.
college.
Picture this.
No, please don't.
No. Picture this. It's a woman bent over.
Okay.
Like almost doggy style, right? And picture Andy in front of you, like your face is near his, and I'm behind you in the doggy position, and the two of us do this.
That doesn't
No,
sound.
hold it. You gotta hold it.
I feel like
You
I
see-
feel
do
dirty
you see
even
it?
doing that in front
Do
of
you
you.
see it? We both high five, and that's the
No,
we.
no.
I see. I feel like I feel
Je ne
dirty.
peux
I
pas
felt
parler français.
dirty doing it right
No.
there. I felt dirty. Sorry.
I
apologize on behalf of
But
me.
you see the visual, right?
I feel like there's a height discrepancy there. There's gonna be some because
Well,
I don't know. It's not something that I probably ever.
if
have
if
in
it's
my
off,
life.
it looked just like a terrorist attack. It was bombed.
Okay,
Now it's
okay.
slightly. That's a show.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.